right. Hello, home service pros. Welcome to the Battle Plan Marketing Podcast, episode number 139. Today, we've got an awesome guest on the show, Mr. Paul Sanneman of Contractor Staffing Source. Got some 40 years as a business coach for contractors out there across the U.S. and Canada, 35 years consulting, about 4 years running a staffing company for contractors, Contractor Staffing Source. Based out of San Diego, handling the whole U.S. and Canada. He's the host of Business Success Tips podcast and a part-time musician with Beach Road Band. Released an album called Contractor, or called Mostly for Kids. So keep an eye on that. Without further ado, welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you. And there's also, if they're into, there's a book on Amazon called Contractor Success Tips. I wrote that a while ago.
Thank you. Author as well.
I've been doing this a long time.
Got a few gray hairs there, just like the host
Hey,
there.
definitely. At least I have. I try to use my hat. My wife says, if I wear my hat, it makes it look younger, so I always wear my hat.
Likewise. There's nothing on top there for me.
I have a little more than you, but not very since we're the same.
We're both about the same there. Yeah. So tell us what you do, who you do it for, where you do it, Paul.
Okay, so the story is I've been a coach for, actually it's more about 50 years. I'm afraid to say that because it makes me really old. So I've worked with thousands of contractors, and about 4 years ago, I could get businesses from like 2 million to 10 million. I did it a bunch, all construction businesses, mostly remodeling contractors, home building contractors, some service businesses. And the problem was they couldn't find the employees. You can build a business, but if you don't have people to do the work, it doesn't do any good, right?
Yeah.
So I said, fine. So I literally hired a guy and stuck him in my garage and said, okay, I want you to just do recruiting for my clients. The first thing I did, I tried to give them the software, everything I learned on best practices, and they totally screwed up. I'm okay, fine. I'll just do it for you. Because contractors don't have a lot of time. No time for time management, right, Mark?
Right.
So I said, fine. So I did it for them, and it's grown a lot. Now we have like 30 people on staff. We run 400 positions every given day, and we do 3,000 or 4,000 resumes a week.
Wow.
We hire like 10 people a week on the average. I think we're the world's largest that just does contractors. And the good news is, I think we hired 480 people last year, and only 17 didn't work out, which is pretty amazing in construction.
That's crazy.
And that's because we developed a system that really works to find people. If you can't find employees, no offense, guys, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
It's just like if you can't find clients, you can't blame the economy. You got to blame marketing, right?
Got it.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there are ways to do this that work, but there's some beliefs that get in your way that I found that working with contractors of these years, and these beliefs definitely mess you up.
Yeah. What are those?
I call them, right? So I'm going to call you the 6 myths that you guys believe wholeheartedly that stops you from getting that next best employee. All right. First myth is only recruit when you need somebody.
Hmm.
They go, I'm not going to know, can you have a football team that doesn't ever recruit until their star player has an accident? Come on.
Right.
There's no team, even any company, they're always recruiting. They're always building their team because there's nothing more important in your team, right? And yet contractors believe, oh, when I need somebody, I'll recruit them. That is a bad idea. So first place, always be recruiting. Never stop. If you do 2 things in this industry, one is you recruit all the time, so you have an awesome team. You market all the time, so you have great clients. It's an easy business. But if you have marginal clients, you've always taken on that client. I shouldn't have taken him on because he sued me, but oh well, right? And the worst employee, not bad enough to fire, good enough to keep. I took this guy in. Oh my God, he screwed up the job. He messed everybody up. That's what makes this industry hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go with that.
If you have really good employees and really good clients, it's an awesome industry to be in. But I would say 90% of the people out there either don't have the right clients or the right employees. That's the problem.
Yep.
And one thing that gets in their way is they think I shouldn't recruit all the time. So myth 1, only recruit when you need employees. Wrong. Recruit all the time. Next myth that gets in your way. Employees are expensive. I can't afford that guy. You know how much he wants an hour? Are you kidding me? Trust me, in this industry, you don't make money unless you have employees. It's the only thing that makes money for you, unless you're a guy in a truck.
Right.
So there's no better investment than your employees. So employees are not expensive. They're a great asset.
Right.
But a lot of guys say, well, once I get the big job or once I have the money, it's like no time for time management. It's crazy. You're only as good as your employees. So employees are not expensive. Get rid of that. It's not true. Okay. Myth 2 gets in your way. Myth 3, we can do this ourselves. How hard is it? Right? Not true. I mean, think about it. Mark, do your own accounting?
Not anymore.
Okay. Do you fix your own car?
Nope.
Let's see, what else do you get? I mean, if you're a contractor, no, you don't do your own plumbing. You don't do your own, your own electrical. Contractors have finally got the idea, hey, if I'm not the world's best at it, I should have somebody else do it.
Yes.
But for some reason, these guys believe recruiting is a no-brainer. The most important function in their business, they don't know how to do it, and they won't hire anybody to do it.
Yeah. And a lot involves psychology,
Oh, it's a huge thing. I mean, I'm going to go through best practices later, but most people don't have the time to do it right. That's why they don't get good employees.
Yeah.
So, hire somebody, but this isn't something you're good at. And why take the most important thing in your business and try to do it yourself? And no offense, you sort of suck at it.
Yeah.
It's not good. And so I would say hire somebody to do it for you because they're going to do a way better job than you're going to do. I mean, I'm using a backhoe and you're using a shovel. Who's going to win, right? I've just got way more assets.
Yeah, especially for a key position. Your people are, key to your business. So you need somebody who's going to identify, superior potential employees for your company.
If you don't, you get the world's worst employee, not bad enough to fire, good enough to keep, right?
Yeah.
They're purgatory.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the next myth. We can do it ourselves. Not true. Get some help. Next, recruit within the construction industry. Big myth. Not true.
Yeah.
And I've tried to convince contractors, I need somebody that's been in the industry. And no, you don't. You need somebody who's the right person. You can always teach them stuff.
Right.
So, for example, the big guys like Lennar and D.R. Horton, they won't even hire people with a background in construction because they have their methodology and they won't have to reteach somebody who's learned the wrong way.
Yep.
And so, you've got some, you have some project manager who shows up with a yellow pad and says, I don't need a damn computer, right? Then you have to teach them all over again. So you can recruit from outside the industry. I'll give you an example. We've recruited a lot of people in hospitality. So look at a selections coordinator.
Nice.
Now, we found a lot of wedding planners that just kill it. Think about it. What's a wedding planner do? You've got the band. You have the flower person. You have the venue. You have the caterer. You have all the, I'm going to call it semi-flaky, pardon the expression, businesses, right? And you got to get them all at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
It has to look good. Everybody has to be perfect and has to come off just right. It sounds like a remodel to me, right?
Yeah. Good management, and you get one shot to make it right.
Right. And so wedding planners choose to do this, right, on purpose. They didn't get thrown in by accident.
Right.
And they have the right personality to do it, and they love it. Right. And the good news is hospitality pays way less than construction.
Yeah.
So we have gotten several wedding planners as office managers, as selections coordinators that have just killed it.
I like that.
So outside the industry, it's okay. Salespeople preferably haven't sold anything construction, because if they've sold anything, could have sold, radios or anything. Right. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because they have that sales experience behind them and they don't have to know about construction. So myth, recruit within the construction industry, not a good idea. I always put in our ads, which is construction experience preferred, but not required.
Gotcha. Yeah. I know some big guys, Tommy Mello, Tom Howard, guys who are running, 9-figure companies. They do not want somebody from their industry. They want to train them on the A to Z within their industry. They want a great human being who's motivated to better their life. They do not want somebody from their industry.
Because who you are is much more important than what you know.
Exactly.
Because you can't fix who you are. We can assess that. But you can fix what they know, right?
I like that.
So don't be stuck with people, just have a construction background. Go outside the industry. Next myth. This kills companies, all right? Hire fast, fire slow. Now that's the myth. What happens is, because you have them recruiting all the time, you have the big project coming up, the first warm body project manager that shows up, or carpenter that's sober, you say, fine, you got the job, right? Now the problem is they becomes the world's worst employee. The big problem isn't hiring them, Mark. It's what they do to your culture.
Yeah. They poison
So
everybody.
you spend years building this awesome culture. You're trustworthy. People love being there. They're honest. You spent half your life or a certain long time building this amazing culture, right? And then you're desperate because you hire fast and fire slow. So you bring somebody in, right? He only lies some of the time, right? He only steals occasionally. He only shows up late. He only offends customers once in a while. He kills your culture.
Yeah.
And then the problem is your people that you've had with you look at this guy and go, wait a minute, he shows up late.
Yep.
He just lied.
Yep.
He stole the nail gun. I mean, come on. And then what happens is it destroys your culture.
Yeah. Real fast. Real fast.
Real fast. And that's the fire slow part. So what happens is because they haven't been recruiting all the time and they don't have anybody in line,
Right.
they keep this guy on
Right.
because they got to have somebody to manage a project. He just kills your culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the reality is you hire slow, take time, find the right people, recruit all the time. Don't be in a big hurry. Be very picky. And if they screw up, boom, fire fast.
Fire fast. Yeah. Otherwise, that poison will spread quick.
Well, it's spread quick in the organization. So, but then the reason people don't fire fast, one is they don't have people to take the position, having recruiting. And secondly, is they're not willing to go through the emotional pain of firing somebody.
Right.
They'd rather die a slow death of killing their culture than deal with telling somebody it's not working out.
No, you got to step up. Yeah. So you're right. A big symptom of not hiring, not recruiting all the time. So now you put yourself in a position to be in this trouble of
right. And you're also, if you're not recruiting, you're putting yourself, and I call it, was a raised by blackmail. We've all been there, right? Some project manager shows up and goes, Mark, I really like you. It's not me, it's my wife. But I really another $5 more an hour. I'm going to have to go take a job with the competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you do if you buckle in and go, okay, fine.
Yeah.
What does that tell everybody else?
Yeah.
How do I get a raise with Mark? I blackmail him.
Right. Right.
And what does that set up for your culture?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally out of my control now.
It's not by performance. It's not by loyalty. It's by blackmailing the boss. That's how I'm going to get a raise.
Right. Exactly.
That's not a good culture.
Yeah. Bad news.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not good. And so that's hire slow, fire fast. Don't hire fast and fire slow.
Like it.
That's key. Okay. The next one is, recruiting is a project that ends. I mean, all contractors have, in my opinion, the project mentality. It has a beginning, you get started, has a middle, you do it, and it ends. Boom, done. Right. So they look at recruiting like a project. They put that mindset on recruiting. So they say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find this guy or lady, whoever. I will hire them, and then I am done recruiting. Not true. But because they look at everything like a project, when you're hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Right.
So when you're looking at everything like a project, you don't see it as an ongoing thing. It's sort of like marketing, recruiting, accounting. Those are processes. They're not projects.
Right. Right.
So keep in mind, it is not a project. It is a process.
Yes.
So let's review really quickly, just one more time. So myth one, recruit when you only need someone. Not two, recruit all the time. Myth two, employees are expensive. They're not. They're the best thing you're going to ever spend money on. We can do it ourselves. Not true. Get help because you're guaranteed you're not that great at it. Recruit within the construction industry. Not true. Look outside the industry. Hire fast, fire slow. Just the opposite. Hire slow and fire fast. And next, recruiting is not a project that ends. It's a continuing process.
Yeah.
So if you can get rid of those in your head, you stand a shot at finding somebody. But those myths get in your way of building a good team.
Yeah. Self-limiting beliefs. Absolutely. And by not doing the first one, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble and stuck in a lot of jams. So let's talk about that. So constantly recruiting, if we're not hiring a company like your own, Paul, what are best practices for recruiting?
I'll tell you what I've learned. And whether you use us or anybody else, I've learned how you find good employees. I've figured it out. We're really good at it. And if you do this, you can do it on your own. Okay. I don't recommend it. Back to myth 3, but if you're convinced, this is what you need to do.
Right.
1, the art of writing a job ad. God bless AI, right? Because you can go to ChatGPT and say, I'm an HR specialist. I'm writing a job ad for a project manager, and I'm a small, HVAC company in Tennessee. can you please write an ad for me? It'll write you an ad. And you can say, make it humorous, make it interesting. Again, it's a job ad. It is not a job description. What is ad? You want somebody to answer the ad. You're advertising. You're not just describing something.
Right.
And a lot of ads, they pay looking for a project manager, boring. In order to attract somebody, I guarantee the guy you're going to hire that's any good is already working for somebody else.
Right.
And so why should he leave his job or her job and come work for you? You better come up with a reason.
Right.
It's no different than marketing.
I like it.
So you can say, are you feel that you're not respected in your work? Do you feel like your current employer doesn't give you a good deal? Look at why people leave.
I like that.
Are you tired of spending too many hours at work and 9.5 hours with your family? Do you feel not respect in your position? It's like any ad. You want to appeal to people's pain.
Yeah, super smart, going after people who are obviously the best employees are working for somebody else already. So yeah, right. Targeting them in your ad.
You got to write an ad that is going to make them want to go to work for you.
I like it.
So make sure the ad is an advertisement, not just a description of what you want. Okay. And AI will help you a lot with that. It's way easier than it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, ChatGPT is great at it.
Awesome.
So just go into AI, say you're a specialist, give them the right prompt. It'll probably be an ad. You can write humorous, you can write fun, and find something that you think would really attract the person you're looking for. Okay. Step 1, great job ad. Step 2, where do you post the ad? Everywhere. When our company, we post on 100 job boards, plus LinkedIn, plus Monster, plus Zip. We post it everywhere we can possibly put it. I also suggest you stick it up in your supplier's office in a poster or something.
Yeah.
Put it everywhere you possibly can. Now, the typical contractor will put an ad in Indeed and then wait for somebody to happen.
Yeah.
And then the next thing they do wrong, which is worse than not posting it everywhere, is you need to respond in minutes.
Yep.
This is the hardest part.
Yep.
I mean, if somebody calls you wants you to fix their air conditioner, do you call them a week later? Probably not. They're going down a list of other companies, and they're going to call the next company if you don't call them.
Yep. Yeah.
So this is the hardest part for contractors too. We get back to people in real time because we've got AI, we've got a bunch of employees. I mean, when somebody applies and we're working with a company, boom, the minute they apply, we say, thank you for applying. We really appreciate your resume. We're right back to them.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, if you're project manager, whatever, you're looking through 7 jobs, right? You're going through Indeed or wherever, you can apply.
Right.
Nothing happens, but except one guy says, thank you for applying. We really appreciate you. Who are you going to be most interested in, right?
100%. Yeah, that's just like incoming leads, Paul. You got a minute to get a lead and get them on the books. Otherwise, every second after that, man, the odds are greatly decreasing.
And it's no different with looking for an employee. Now, that's something that's really difficult for most people to do.
Yeah.
We have AI that does it. We have 30 people that do it. So we can do it in real time. And I'll tell you, the numbers aren't good. We have an average of 200 applicants for every time we get fill a position.
Wow.
So are you going to respond to 200 people in real time
Right.
the second they apply and do that job?
Right.
Probably not so much, right?
No. Nor are they going to post it to the right amount of places to find that employee.
Right. So, that's why it's hard to yourself, because you do not have the bandwidth to respond in real time.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we have AI help. We have all these people all over the world.
Yeah.
So when somebody applies, boom, we're back to them instantly. That gives us a way edge to everybody else. I mean, if you have 5 competitors in an HVAC company and you call 3 of them, nobody answers the phone, and the third one says, thank you, I'll be right over. Who are you going to choose?
Oh, yeah. I'm judging you right away by your response. All of the prospects by the response time. That's judgment number 1. So I'm immediately impressed. Hey, XYZ company got back to me in 35 seconds. That's awesome.
Right. They're better than the other guys, right? That's the company I like to work for. So again, now I get that's hard to do. I get it. We go through 3,000 or 4,000 resumes a week. Mm-hmm. We get back to those people in real time. It takes a lot of resources, right?
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of personnel, a lot of workflow, and software.
But an applicant tracking system, you might be able to pull it off, but it is important you get back to people in real time. And that's hard, but that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Then once you get back to real time, the next thing is selection and screening. So artificial intelligence and psychology has gotten really good. I mean, I can give you an assessment, Mark, and I'll tell you all your strengths, all your weaknesses, your IQ, whether you're critical, who you are as a human being, whether you're honest. I'll know all about you in about 45 minutes.
Wow. Wow. So you're
And that's
scraping
something,
data out there, or?
what happens is you give an assessment. And I ask question. I'm going to ask you this question. This is one of the honesty questions, Mark. You'd find this appreciated. Okay. So, Mark, it's important to support your boss, right?
Important to what?
Support your boss.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Now, here's the question. Your boss tells you to tell the client the product will be delivered in 2 weeks, right? Can you tell Miss Jones it's going to be in 2 weeks? You know it's 4 weeks. The boss knows it's 4 weeks. Are you going to lie and support your boss, or are you going to tell the truth?
I am going to argue with my boss that the truth needs to be told.
All right. But that's a question, right?
Yeah.
And so by asking those kind of questions, we can get at who you are as a human being.
Yeah. I like it.
And so we're able to do that, which is really important because you don't find that stuff out until it's too late. Again, the world's worst employee, not bad enough to fire, good enough to keep. They kill organizations.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I have a thing that people should try on as far as whether you should fire people or not. That is, say, Mark, you've owned a company, right, in the past, right?
Sure, 3. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you have this company, just go back a ways. You've got this HVAC company, right? What do you have? Roofing
Marketing.
company? Huh?
Marketing.
Well,
let's say I got a plumbing company. It's okay.
Plumbing. Okay, you got a plumbing company. So the question is, you have to start the plumbing company over. For whatever reason, everybody goes away, and you're starting 3 miles away, and it's all good. Any employee you wouldn't happily hire back, you should fire.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I like that. I like that scenario right there. Yeah. Beautiful.
And I know everybody listening to this podcast, some of them are going, oh, yeah. When should you fire somebody the minute you think about it? I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because we all have John or George or Mary or whatever. The minute the phone rings, oh, it's John, right? It's John. I mean, they just bring down the energy, right?
Yeah. 100%. You're
and
right.
You know that guy or that woman.
I like how you said, as soon as you think about it, that's the minute you need to do it. Because you're right. As soon as that enters the brain, that person is not performing.
Right. And then what happens is you keep them on for months, years. Yep. I've been a coach forever. And I've had conversations about Mary or John or whatever. And every third conversation is, what did she do this week? Well, she messed up on the book. She should have done differently. She forgot to bill this guy. Blah. I go, then why is she still there? Well, and months until finally, I found out she was stealing something and they get rid of her. But it's like, come on. Yeah. But it's hard. I get that it's hard. But that's what happens. That's why you keep the world's worst employee. Yeah. Now, way to avoid that is you don't hire them in the first place. So assessments are vital. And there's a Colby, there's DISC, there's a bunch of, we have a predictive risk profile. We've got the technology, and you can get it on the internet too, on how to properly assess people before you even talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an art and a science to hiring, judging people.
It's absolutely key. And that's why we have such a great track record. I said, out of 480 people, we missed 17 times because we use all this technology. And you should too if you're going to do this right. So find an assessment that works for you and your people and something that you have faith in. Take the assessment yourself and feel if it's accurate. I always tell when clients work for us, I want them to do the assessment themselves. Think, oh my God, you know more about me than my mom. And I go, yeah, that's true. So I did one of the assessments. It's really funny. It was a potential client, and I was a little concerned, right? Because his dishonesty thing was really off the charts bad. And I went, and I'm trying to get this guy as a client and the assessment. And I'm going, well, Frank, your honesty isn't that great. And he goes, yeah, I'm at least honest about lying. Okay, fine. So it was accurate. He was not an honest guy. At least he knew it, right? The assessment just came out with it. So, it's really important to assess people, right? And make sure that you know who they are. And the technology is out there to do that. Next, do interviews. We do a video interview for everybody. We have in our applicant tracking system, we can do a one-way interview. We ask them all the questions. And you can tell things in an interview you can't tell in person. So what they're like, what their personality is like, what they look like. You can't tell that in assessment. You can't tell in a resume. So a video interview is critical. Now, we have a one-way video interview. We always do it with everybody. They send them out. They do it on the phone. We structure all the questions so they do it. There's apps out there that will do that. But make sure you do a video interview, okay? And then after the video interview, and you've done the assessments and you've done all this stuff, then you check the references. Critical.
Yes,
Because
critical.
I literally, true story, I had a guy that got embezzled by his bookkeeper. Bad enough. He hired another bookkeeper, and she embezzled him again. And he went to the DA and said, "Look at this one embezzled me." He goes, "Did you look up? You look her up? She got she got, what is it? Fired from her last job for embezzling." Like, dude, come on, right?
Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, you're just asking for it. Why do you
You
ask for
just ask,
references if you're not going to check them, right?
you know. So get references and do background checks. Background checks, we do it for all our clients, but you get a background check for 30, $40 these days. Do a background check. So if you
Yeah,
do all this, you're going to, that's why we do such a good job. You write the perfect ad, you post it everywhere it's supposed to be. We can also research databases, which you can't, but that's an advantage that the recruiter has.
right, right.
Respond in minutes, not days. Make sure you use assessments, go through the whole process, do video interviews, do reference checks, do background checks. If you do all that, by the first time the person ends up at the end of the funnel, so to speak, there'll be somebody who want to have work for you.
Yeah, yeah. Highly qualified individual at the end of that funnel. That's
Right.
that's good
But
advice.
unfortunately, most contractors do not do that.
No, probably impossible for do either of those things. Avoiding the myths of hiring in the first place, and definitely they'd be lucky if they're hitting one or two of those best practices for
Right. And
recruiting.
that's why the construction industry, I think it's like 50%. It's really bad. The chances of people working out are very low. And that's because they haven't followed best practices.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of using social media and or other channels to constantly not just be exhibiting and selling, but also to be recruiting all the time?
Oh, absolutely. In other words, you want to project in social media, like if you take, you know, John Doe's birthday party, or let's look at, the party we had. And there's a lot of stuff you can post on social media, which shows you're a great company to work for. And that makes it much easier for us as a recruiter, because if you're getting a bunch of, Google 1 star saying this company sucks, right? It's really hard to
Right,
recruit for that company. So
right,
if you
right.
have a positive culture, use social media to get out there. It comes under always be recruiting. Anytime, you got two audiences. You've got your employee audience and you've got your customer audience.
Yep.
You should be social media in both of them. They talked to a woman today and she says 70% of our social media is focused toward potential employees,
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
because she says that's so important to create that brand out there. It's a great place to work for.
Yeah. Yeah. And your potential customers are seeing that too. So
Right.
at the 70-30 mix, customers are still seeing, or prospects are seeing the 70%. It's not really geared toward them, but they're getting to see that
But
you
you want to, that's right. You want to hire somebody who people enjoy being there, right?
right,
That's important.
exactly. Want to see that there's a great culture behind the HVAC company I'm about to hire. So yeah, absolutely, it
Right.
helps.
That's really important.
Yeah,
So the answer is an absolute yes.
yeah, I like that a lot. I see that you're working currently, looks like, with a couple hundred companies, and you got the world largest contractor recruiting company up on your website tag. So talk to me. It's
Yeah.
got to be quite a lot working with a couple hundred companies.
Well, it is, because everybody's different. And my biggest problem last year, Mark, and I've changed my pricing structure, was dealing with myth one, right? People would they'd hire our company, they'd recruit 3 people, they'd find their project manager, carpenter, office manager, and they quit. I go,
I see.
no, 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 don't do that. So I changed my pricing structure, and I probably should mention pricing, but I do anyway. Normally, it's like $3,000 a month or $1,500 if you do it. It's half the cost if you're willing to commit for a year. Because the
Right.
thing is, I believe she's recruiting all the time, and luckily that's worked for us. The last 40 people have signed up annually. So that we're dealing with all these myths too, of dealing with contractors, right?
Yes.
Um, and so we have to convince them we should be recruiting all the time. So that's been very successful. And, we've got a lot of referrals. I think it's a real need in the industry. And because we use some offshore labor, we use AI, we can do it at a fraction of the cost of everybody else. I mean,
Nice.
I know people that say, I hired more for hiring my last project manager than I paid you all year, right?
Sweet.
Because we use a different technology.
I like it. And you're on top of it. So if I've got you going, I got a contract with you going all year long, and let's say I've got a 20-person crew, maybe 10 trucks, 12 trucks out there, a plumber, electrician. I'm not really sure how many people I'm hiring a year. Let's say, what, 5 maybe per year?
Give me 3 or 4 or 5, it doesn't matter. But you're always looking for that unicorn, you know? I
Right.
mean, I've talked to remodeling companies. They go, "Oh, I'm done." I go, "Let's see. What if we found a guy who knew every architect in town, could bring $3 million worth the day he started, knew all the subcontractors, was an amazing human being? Would you
Right.
hire him?"
Right.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So there's always room for the right guy. I mean, you think about it, cost of doing business. I mean, if you're a couple $1 million company, 50 bucks, that's nothing to build a big team. That's the most important thing you're doing is building the team, right? You have to
100%.
invest in building a team. There is no professional sports team that doesn't spend a fortune on recruiting,
Yeah.
right?
Scouting. You betcha.
They have scouts all over the place. They're looking all the time because they know they're only as good as their recruiting system.
Yeah.
And
100%.
yet contractors don't get that it's a business function,
Yeah, they
you
turn it
know?
on and off without a doubt, and like you're saying, that that just opens up the can of worms for all kinds of problems, putting yourself in bad
Right.
positions,
I mean,
endlessly.
I talked to the other day. He said the best decision I ever made in construction was to build a bench.
Build a bench.
Build a bench of employees
I like it.
that there's always somebody who wants to come to work for me. And the minute there's an opening, I open it and the person joins on board. I get the best people. If somebody's not working out, they're gone. And I have an amazing team, right?
Nice.
And, you know, when you're built, that's to me, let's say that's pick a number, 16,000 a year. To have an awesome team, that's nothing compared to, I mean, you should more that on a damn tractor.
Oh yeah, damn right, damn right. And go through that really
And so
quick on some bad employees very quickly too.
it can cost you 50,000 bucks like that, boom, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's an investment, and unfortunately, most contractors were tradespeople, not entrepreneurs, and they don't understand
yeah,
the value of recruiting. There isn't any successful company in this country that's been successful that doesn't recruit all the time.
yeah. 100%.
I don't care if it's Taco Bell or any, but they're always recruiting all the time because they know that's just best practice. They're always marketing all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
contractors, I think, are slowly learning this, but it's hard for them. And it's the biggest problem in this industry right now. I think it's the second largest industry in the world is construction. The biggest problem is recruiting. And it's not because there's not people out there. They're harder to find, but you can find them. It's sort of like if you're not having enough customers, you go, well, the phone's not ringing. Well, you doing any marketing? Well, no. I mean, this interesting. I had a guy that who's literally a venture capitalist, and he could open any business he wanted to in the world. He had a ton of money. He says, "I'm opening a roofing company in the Midwest." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Simple. The guys that are out there, they're old timers. They're stuck. They do it the old way. Nothing's changing. They're all good, and they don't can do anything. The young guys that are quitting the old guys and starting the companies don't have a clue on how to run a company,
Hmm.
right? And so I'm going to go into that market and I'm going to be the biggest roofing contractor from scratch in 4 years.
Mm.
Why? Because they know how to market, they know how to do stuff. I mean, I use the example, it's probably not a great one, but a lot of people say in the small town USA, right? There's no employees. Your retailers saying I can't find good people, all the
Right.
kids are lazy, they all suck, blah, blah. And so nothing happens. All of a sudden, somebody opens a Target or a Walmart just outside of town. Where do they find 500 people?
Right.
Right? Someplace
Yes.
they have better systems,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so then they get upset because they suck all the business out of downtown because they got a better process.
Right.
It's unfortunate but true, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
100%.
the systems are out there. We're there to recruit other people that are market. Just go look and you can find the systems. And the thing is, if you do recruit all the time and you do market all the time, you do a good job, you'll make a lot of money, have a lot better life, and have the best, HVAC or roofing, whatever company in your market, because you just have processes.
Yeah, I like it. In fact, if they just look internally, right? So if I'm a plumber and I started off one truck chuck, and I'm working my ass off, but then I fast forward, let's say 5 years, and now I've got a half a dozen guys out there, a couple of girls in the office, and all that was really tough in the beginning. But as I created my systems, now I got a smooth running machine, let's say. Well, it's because of those systems, right?
Right.
SOPs, however you want to put it. And that's what made my now small little plumbing company really kicking ass. So those same systems need to apply to your marketing if you want customers, and now B, like you're saying, to your recruiting if you
recruiting.
want
I mean,
great
there's systems
employees.
out there that you can use. And, unfortunately, what the Peter Principle is, Mark? I think it's a
Peter Principle
principle
80/20 or
no, the Peter Principle says people are promoted to their level of competence and they stay there.
oh,
So if you've got
okay.
an employee, the post office run that way. You promote people and you can't demote them because you promoted them, and you can't promote them because they're not doing the job. So you
Okay.
got a company full of people that they're like not great, right? Well, owners are mad at the Peter Principle. They promote themselves to their level of competence, and that's where the company stops, right?
Good point.
So, they promote themselves to where they're doing a million and a half. They don't know the systems, the processes, and that kind of thing.
Right.
They get stuck.
Yep.
And there's outside help that can help them with the marketing, with recruiting, with all those kind of processes so they can keep moving forward. But they sort of don't know what they don't know,
Yep.
and they get stuck.
Yeah. That's a good
But
point.
today, all those systems are out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to get from 2, 3, 4 million to 12, 13, 14, if you want to get to double digit, you're really going to have to cross that barrier of finding
You're
systems.
going to have to become an entrepreneur, not just a craftsman.
Yeah,
for better or
exactly. A
worse.
business owner, 100%.
Yeah.
Paul, let's go back to my little scenario. I'm a plumber. I got my 20 people. I hire 5 a year. I got you under contract for the whole year. I currently don't need anybody, but you're still out there recruiting for me. And do you
Right.
pop up and say, hey, Mark, I have found a person for you that
Right.
you don't
Well,
even
the
want
thing
them
is,
on your bench. You want to talk to this person now.
right, because everybody's got their worst employee, right?
Right.
And so you've got some guy who's or whatever, and then some person comes in. They moved in from an outside town. They're just killing it. They're a great person. They're a great human being. They have skills. They have everything you want. Would you rather have A or B, right?
Right.
But if you don't know A exists, you're going to keep with B.
Yep.
And any sports team runs that way.
Right.
There's no, I'm a great quarterback, I'm done.
No. Next man up.
Next man up. So I think that analogy holds for recruiting the same way. You're always trying to build an awesome team.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't ever stop that process.
Yeah.
I've
100.
had the same employees for 40 years, I'm fine. Well, that's an option, I guess. But if you're going to be competitive and you're going to build a great team, you cannot not recruit all the time, because you build the bench, and when somebody messes up, they quit, who knows, somebody leaves, you've got that next person in line. The other thing that's also true is if you have people that want your job that are better than you are, you're probably going to perform better.
Right. Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to slack. I've been here for 3 years. I can kick back. I can show up late. I can, do a mediocre job because, hey, John's never going to fire me. He's a good guy.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Whereas if they know you have a bench and you're always looking for the best, it's sort of a culture thing.
Yep.
Are you always looking for the best people, or are you just going to be stuck with who you've got and not care?
Right. Right. Hey, speaking of, Paul, do you help them create like internal systems to reward employees for bringing in?
Yeah, we do that. We help, like, most contractors know what key performance indicators are, but we help those. We help. We have a whole system we develop, like Base HR, saying these are the key performance indicators for a project manager or a carpenter or whatever. Help figure out what these are, hold those people accountable, those key performance indicators, because you can't get better without feedback.
Right.
And most, I have a joke. What is it? Our point, our personnel policy is meetings will continue until morale improves, right? Not exactly the best process, right?
I do not want a job there. Yeah.
Right. So what happens is you don't build that culture.
Right.
And you need to build a culture where you give that feedback. I know I was listening to a video the other day, and it said, if you have a Rubik's Cube and you're blind, it'll take you 1,000 years.
Mm.
If you have a Rubik's Cube and you can see, it takes you 3 or 4 hours. So you get feedback.
Right.
So it's important if employees said, this is what they're doing right, this is what they're doing wrong, this is how to improve. And what happens is most employers don't have the system and procedures to put that in process in place. And we can help them do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Training programs, performance pay. Like there's so many things that you got to line up properly. Do you steer them in that direction at all, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. In fact, there's an app I just heard the other day called ProTiv, and literally on your phone, you can tell every employee how they're doing every day, and there's a bonus system connected to it in real time on their paycheck. Wow. It's amazing.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff out there that you can do that's amazing, But again, you've got to be open to it. And there's never been a more exciting time to be a contractor, I think, than now.
I
Because
agree.
AI is going to change everything. The good news is AI is not going to build a house.
Right.
You're not like a doctor or an attorney where information will replace you. It
Yes.
can't. But you have to have the right team to build the house, and AI can help you do that, right? So you're sort of in the best kind of profession because AI is not going to replace you, but can use it to make you better.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, you don't want to be a radiologist or something right now. And AI
That
is
reads
going to,
X-rays. Even a programmer, like my son did a video game. It gave him the game, it structured it for him, and then it started writing the whole game for him in C++.
wow,
Okay, fine. I mean, it's changing, and it's exponential. It's not linear.
it is indeed.
But the good news is construction, they have yet to figure out how to, they still got to build houses. They got to fix air conditioners. They got, we're in the safest industry right now. AI is not going to touch.
I agree.
That's the good news. But the bad news is you can use AI to get way better. And if your competition uses recruiting effectively, marketing effectively, they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
Even though you might be great at, plumbing, but plumbing is more about now getting the right customers and finding the right team, not just about, hooking something up.
Yeah, 100%. Follow up, marketing, staying connected.
Right. That's all important.
Yeah. A great plumber showing up, doing awesome work, being clean.
Changing the industry. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And so AI is not going to take your job, but it certainly can make your company run a whole lot more efficient, more effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which in turn can prevent or provide a much better customer experience, just rippling down the road for you.
Your example, you have four plumbers in your market. Two of them are using AI to generate social media, generate ads, generate marketing, generate, image, the whole thing about building a brand, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they're using AI to help find great employees and that kind of stuff. They're going to have a great brand and great employees. They're going to kill you. You're not going to be able to compete.
Yeah. 100. And the third guy hates social media, does never on there, doesn't like sales or marketing, so only takes word of mouth. The clock is ticking on that guy.
And he only hires people that he knows that have experience.
Yeah.
It's ticking.
You might, in the old days, you could survive maybe like that, in your little corner and, barely get by. Today, I don't think in the next few years, I think you're going to be, out of business a lot quicker.
We all remember the corner drugstore. It's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember, this isn't that long ago when you actually owned CDs.
Right. 8 tracks, cassettes.
Right. So you can't fight this stuff.
No.
If you will get run over by it.
Yeah.
So, embrace it, use this technology to find great people, use this technology to find great clients, and you'll be way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But don't ignore it.
Yeah. The tools are out there and they're being developed, man, exponentially, super fast nowadays.
Absolutely.
So AI may not be coming for your job if you're a contractor out there, but I'll tell you who is coming for not your job, but your customers and your employees. And those are private equity firms who are gobbling up service companies all over and putting their awesome systems in place and their technology and their great marketing and their great training and recruiting. So if you want to fear anything out there as a contractor, fear companies getting bought around you and gobbled up, and you're competing with some very large, very efficient, products.
And the thing is, you can, because our average guy has 3 or 4 guys. It's not that it's not available. You can find marketing companies do the same thing. Because AI is sort of levels the playing field. You have the same access.
Yes.
I've got access to technology where literally can tell everybody to go to your website, just like Walmart and what they did.
Right.
We have access to doing assessments, the same assessments that, big companies use.
Right.
So this technology is available to the small guy. That's the good news.
Good point.
The bad news, if you don't use it, it's not going to help you.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, all the tools are out there. You don't have to be a 20 or 200 person outfit. You can be a 3-person outfit and look
we
better.
use the same technology and tools as a $10 million, $20 million company.
100%.
And you can hire for $15 a month.
Yeah.
There's marketing companies that do all the stuff for you for, $3,000 or $4,000 a month that would cost thousands before. So it is a leveler, but you've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because if your competition's using a backhoe and you're using a shovel, you're going to lose.
Yeah. 100%. But you're right. Switch into the business owner, entrepreneur hat and go out there and kill it, because you can. That 3-person team can look better than the $200 million company who just bought
Right.
somebody in
But
the
you have to adapt the current technology, whether it's in recruiting and marketing, processes, it's all out there for you. There's great coaching companies. But if you don't adapt, you will probably retire.
Yeah, exactly. So, Paul, let's take us through. So, if I'm a plumbing or electrical, some kind of home service company interested in your service, where do I go? Who do I talk to?
You go to contractorstaffingsource.com,
Okay.
and you can I'll be happy to talk with you. I literally will talk to you personally. I'm still the guy that does a lot of sales and talks to people. Give me a call. My phone is 415-599-9006. That's my personal cell phone. My personal email is paul@paulsanneman.com. And anybody watching this podcast, I'm there to help. And, I'll show you how to do it yourself. If you want to do it yourself, I can say the software to do it yourself. If you want to use us to do it, that's fine. But at least learn what you don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to help you with that.
Yeah, that's the secret to success right there. Dive into what you don't know and hire professionals to do the things you're not good at. I like it.
And I heard this great quote, Mark, that when smart people learn from their own mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
I like it. Yeah, very good. Whose quote is that? Is that yours?
I don't know who it was, but it was an awesome quote. I've got Jim Rohn who says, work harder on yourself than you do in your business, which I totally believe is true.
Yeah.
So, there's enough. We're the first generation that has infinite access to knowledge.
Yeah.
So no one can, I didn't know that.
Right.
You can't blame, I didn't have the books, I didn't have the education, that's gone.
Yeah.
You have a phone. The phone has the entire planet's information on this thing.
It's
and we all have one.
It's unbelievable.
So you can watch bad movies or learn how to run a business. It's your choice, right?
Exactly.
But it's your choice. So we are in the age of personal responsibility, your ability to respond. So there's no excuse for not being successful unless you don't want to be, because you can't say, well, I didn't know, I couldn't find it, I wasn't aware of it. Not true. It's all there for you. You just have to look.
Yeah, well said.
And it's interesting because AI is accessible to everybody. It's not just big companies. You can go get ChatGPT or any of these things, and it's basically free or almost free.
Yeah.
You have the best technology in the world.
Yeah. Well said.
But if you don't use it, what good does it do you?
Exactly. Yeah. I cannot add to that. That was perfectly said and stated. Everything is out there. Go grab it, folks. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So again, it is contractorsstaffingsource.com.
Yep.
Give Paul a look up, give him a call, see if they can help you out. Paul, you're awesome. I appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate your time. Thanks
for coming
Mark. I really
on the show,
appreciate it.
sir.
Have a good one.